Hello guys, today we're going to talk about Achilles tendon taping. One of the things that we talk about in the field of athletic training is when do we actually use this tape job. Most often it's going to be used with a patient who has or is exhibiting signs and symptoms of an Achilles tendinopathy. Most often that's going to be Achilles tendinitis. And so some of those signs and symptoms might be pain on the actual Achilles tendon itself. You might actually feel some type of like crepitus or creaking across the tendon as you dorsiflex and plantar flex the foot. But most important sign and symptom is they really complain of a lot of pain with dorsiflexion range of motion. So the goal of the Achilles tendon tape job is twofold. It's number one, to reduce pain, but number two, it's to reduce the patient's ability to move into dorsiflexion range of motion. So just like with every great tape job, the Achilles tendon is going to start with spraying the patient down with the tough skin to make sure that the skin is sticky and the tape can adhere to the patient. We are going to use a heel and lace pad, but this time around, it's just going to go over that Achilles tendon. And so as we begin our tape job, what we are going to begin with are 2 proximal anchor strips, and then we'll go distal and we'll move into the 2 distal anchor strips. With the Achilles tendon tape job, you guys, please make sure that it is distal to the actual gastrocnemius. And so you say, well, how might I figure that out? If I take my fingers and I see the point at which the muscle becomes thinnest, then I know that that's where I can begin my tape job. If we do our tape job or start our strips over the gastrocnemius, your patient will start to cramp and they won't be happy with you. So listen to me here. So I'm going to start with proximal anchor strips, and I'm going to do 2 of those. Remember again, this is my first one, so I want to make sure there's a half lap between the 2. So this is going to be my second anchor strip. So I have 2 proximal anchor strips, and then we're going to do like we did in the ankle. We're going to do that distal anchor strip as well. So you can see that plantar surface of the foot, and then I'll just come on top and I'll do the same. Okay? Since the goal of this tape job is to prevent dorsiflexion range of motion, you will have to place the foot in a plantar flexion moment. So what I usually tell my patient is, can you hold your foot in this position like you're pressing on the gas pedal? The next step will be to measure the distance between your proximal and your distal anchor strips. And this is important, you guys, because what we're going to do is then create 3 strips of equal length. So hopefully you guys can see this. 3 strips of equal length. And we never do this on our patient because we don't want to injure our patient while we're tearing. That first strip we measured is going to go from the proximal anchor strip to the distal anchor strip. That second piece we tore is going to create almost like an X-like feature. Know if you guys can see that, but what we're creating is a stronghold in the central portion of that Achilles tendon. That third piece we tore is going to go in the opposite direction. And so what we have here is almost like an X-like appearance with a central strip, or as what we would really call that in the field of athletic training, a check rein. Okay, so once we have that down, what we then do is we're going to close that off again with 2 proximal anchor strips. And then we have to close this one off with a distal anchor strip. Otherwise, those pieces would fly up. And so now, to test the effectiveness of your tape job, what you're going to have your patient do is try to dorsiflex. So move those toes to your shin if you can. You guys can see how we limited dorsiflexion range of motion. The goal of this is truly that, right? If we limit dorsiflexion range of motion, keep in mind that we take the stretch off of the Achilles tendon and we start to see the signs and symptoms of our patient resolving relatively quickly. Thank you so much for watching.